Hey guys, Jengar here. Welcome to today's realistic review in which we are taking a look at the Italian G.91YS sitting at 9.3 battle rating. One of the crown jewels of this patch. This is a very fun plane and it is very good as well. It is a little bit of a jack of all trades. It doesn't excel in many areas except performance. It has excellent acceleration in a straight line and you can pull away from most planes when you come out of a turn fight with that person, and that is always something very good to have in a jet because it gives you the ability to recover. It is not the fastest plane at this battle rating. It has a maximum speed at sea level of 1057 without web and 1106 with web at 4500 meters. This is 821 without web and 855 with, and at 6500 meters she'll go up to 721 without web and 748 with web. Now in the speed department in a straight line, that is definitely not the best plane out there. Depending on what bracket you're in. If you are in an up tier with the 10.0s and 9.7s, then it's gonna be tough in the speed department, but otherwise at a 9.0 or lower match you will be one of the faster planes. So there is that. The top speed in a dive is 1071 before she redlines and 1180 before she rips apart. Now that is quite decent. As I said, that is in everything below this plane you will be faster, so that's good. These speeds are in indicated airspeed. And this plane definitely in a dive has nice performance, I have to say. The control stiffening only starts very slightly at 900. You only notice it a little bit, and at 1050 it becomes slightly more severe, but the roll rate that was very good to start with doesn't really drop down very much and stays very functional, this plane in a dive, and you can definitely get guns on target on a great many planes there, which is good. The stall speed is also quite nice with 135. So maneuvers in the vertical can be good. The vertical energy retention is also excellent. With a climb rate that is very good combined, this plane can do good things in the vertical. The only thing that goes against that is it doesn't perform very well when it's slow. So in the stall maneuver itself it can be a little bit cumbersome, this plane, and so that is not in the end where it excels, although against some planes it can definitely perform there, especially in the down tiers towards the 9.0 bracket, let's say. Against the MiG-19 and the T-2 and stuff like that in the vertical you will in the end get beat most of the time, but this plane definitely can make surprises for those planes as well, because it is so handy in the tight areas. It performs better in maneuvering combat than those planes, so that is very nice. It's an excellent defensive fighter as well. It feels very good in the roll rate and stuff like that, and you can definitely have fun that way in the close corners of the match. You have 2 missiles as well, so that's nice, and you have the 30mm on this thing, which is a great improvement over the 450 cals that you had on the other G91s. The firepower in this plane is great, with 2 30mm Deva 552 cannons with a 125 rounds per gun. I used the air target belt for that for this setup and a 600 meter convergence. You also have the 2 AIM 9B sidewinders. The plane doesn't have the E's, so it will have to do with the B's. You can also equip a wider range of bombs, rockets and missiles and combos between those variations, so you have a lot of options in this plane. You can even ground pound in this plane as well, so there is a lot of fun to be had in this plane. It's pretty versatile when it comes to that, in the different roles it can perform. Now the acceleration in a straight line is excellent. You, like I said, you will pull away from most planes, even in the higher bracket. But at a 9.0 battle rating, you will pull away from pretty much anybody because of the acceleration, and that is just excellent. It gives you a lot of recovery rate, and of course you will have missiles to deal with. But it is a big advantage, the acceleration in this plane. In a dive, it is also very good, the acceleration. Energy retention in the horizontal is great, and in the vertical is excellent, with a very good climb rate. So as I said, the performance is good, but once you do get too slow in that in the climb, this plane becomes a little bit cumbersome. So there is a negative side to that. The turn time is good to very good with flaps, although the flaps are basically not very usable. It's very dangerous to use the flaps on this plane. The flaps rip off at about 450, 490, which is, I wrote that 5 a little bit awkward, so but or the 9 became a 5. But, it's 490, and that is not very good speed for a rip off on the flap for a jet. So that makes the flaps very dangerous, and once you do use the flaps and you become even slower, this plane becomes cumbersome. So you have that problem in this plane, that you can't use the flaps to your leisure, unfortunately. So you remain there with good turn time, with a very good roll rate, and with overall maneuverability that I would call very good at most speeds. If you become too slow, and I would say that that's below 400 around that speed, you become cumbersome. The plane doesn't perform very well there, and so you want to stay in a window between let's say 1000 and 400. That's a very good window for this plane in maneuverability, and you will be able to be competitive in that range. The overheating is not an issue at all. I did not manage to really overheat this plane, even with a lot of web usage. I didn't manage to do it. Durability is bad though. As I said, when you rip off those flaps at 500 kilometers, for example, it becomes very difficult to control the plane, and it doesn't recover very well. The plane doesn't handle well with damage in that sense. So you want to avoid being hit, and if you don't manage to do that, a few hits can already make the plane unflyable. It's not very easy to get this plane back to base when you hold critical damage, let's say. So there is that, and and that's unfortunate because you then can't recover very easily. But the plane can transition very well between the rolls, boom and zoom. You can do that very well in this plane. The turn fighting is possible between the speed range that I mentioned, and then you have energy fighting, which this plane is very good at, because the plane has a good performance, very good performance overall. And as I said, you will pull away from many people. You recover your speed quite rapidly, and the plane is capable of recovering from a mistake or two, and that is really a lot of fun. This is the jet that I had the most fun with so far in this patch, and also the better results. Maybe because of that fun factor and the versatility of this plane. When you are in the higher brackets, you definitely don't want to use this plane as a main fighter. You become a little bit, forced into a support role with the other planes, because you can't compete on the speed levels in the end. And you do have limited ammo, although the ammo isn't super bad in that sense. I would still call the ammo load very good with the 30 millimeters. But you can dominate in this plane at anything at its own battle rating and lower. It is really a very, very good jet. And as I said, the most fun jet that I've played so far in this patch. Hey guys, so here we are after the match. Now this plane is loads of fun. It can transition very easily between the different roles. Energy fighting, it does very well. It recovers very well in its speed, so that is an excellent trait. You can turn fight a little bit in the right speed range, which is quite a good speed range with it from 400 to 1000. And you can also boom and zoom in this plane. You have good guns on display now, not the 450 cals, which was a bit meager, but this is definitely good. The 230s do a lot of damage, and you have 125 rounds, which is very functional. They have a good firing rate though, so that you do run out of them quicker than some of the other 30s in game. You have the 2 missiles. The plane is very well equipped and does very well on the roll rate and stuff like that. But the performance in this plane is very good, the acceleration and the energy retention. And that helps you a lot in this plane. It recovers well, and it's an excellent plane. It just doesn't do very well with damage, and as I said, those flaps are not fantastic. But overall, I really like this plane. It's been the plane, the jet in this patch that I've had the most fun with, so that does say something. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the review. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button, become part of this community. If you are already a subscriber, don't forget to like the video, do leave me a comment, and if you really feel like helping out today, make sure to share the video with your friends and let them know about the channel.